Musketeer Coach's show is right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson with you, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers. That's Luke Strand. We talk Musketeer hockey and a long road trip for the Musketeers. The road trip continues. 8 straight games on the road, and is that 5? 5 of them already out of the... That sounds right, doesn't it? 5 out of 8? You got 3 more straight.
Correct.
Fargo, and then let's go back to Fargo.
Correct.
So 8 straight. It's every January for the Musketeers. It seems that way because of things that go in town and at the Tyson. So it's one of those long road trips. But we'll talk all about that, and of course a road trip coming up to Fargo this week. But it was Friday, a win against the under-18 national development team, then a loss to them, and then a loss to Chicago. Let's start off, we'll get with positive before we go anywhere the other direction. And a positive game, but you saw some problems in the game, but a gut check win for Friday night in the shootout.
Yeah, you got to be... You're happy with the guys' effort to push and pull and everyone do the same thing, same page. Because you're right, that Friday was a gut check. And the disappointing part is, I think I spoke to you about it. You can hear the clunks in the car, and the car hasn't gotten in the garage yet. So it was clunking. Mm-hmm. But the winning masked the clunk.
Do you think it did for the team too a little bit? Like, hey, I know I watched video. You showed the other team with plenty more scoring opportunities, but you had Jerusik who did a terrific job, and guys scored when they needed to. I
think we were timely. That'd be a big. Obviously, Matt was timely with the saves, and we were timely on some scoring. At the end of the day, I liked the fact that we stuck with the whole plan and we did some bending and not breaking, but at the same time, you can't go back to the same recipe. And it came with warning, and the warning got stung the next night.
They came at you very, very strong. They scored the goals that maybe they didn't score on Friday.
They did. I thought obviously they're talented, opportunistic, but at the same time, they are healthy. It's the first time this year. Seth and I are buddies. Their coach, and he's like, this is the first time we've been this healthy. It's the hardest and most energy we've played with, and then obviously on Monday they blanked Youngstown 7-1, so they do have a bit rolling right now.
Well, and that's kind of the thing about it, is because people can go look at it and say, well, here's the USA record in the USHL, or we're looking at totals. And for Friday, the one stat I can take out of that is that team was 9-2 against USHL teams, and a very good record against Division I teams.
Correct.
9-2, you gave them their 3rd loss of the season in the USHL. That says something about getting something done, whether they outchanced you or not.
Yeah, that was a... there's a positive spin for it. There's no doubt, and the fact that we traveled and we did our part. I thought we had energy. I thought we had effort. I thought there was a lot of good pieces. I do think Matt played extremely well in net. We were timely, power play timely goal, and then obviously you get Sampo and Dylan to score in the shootout, which are always good pieces of the puzzle when you're putting pucks behind the other goalie at a pressure moment.
Right. Then you go into, and you guys were tied at, if we go from that game, which was a shootout victory, to the next game, and I was going, well, hopefully it's another positive. And you were tied at 2 after one period, although they outchanced you something severely in that first period.
Yeah, they pushed. I thought they, the one thing they do, they're talented enough to spend a lot of in-zone offensive time. It's very much more tiring to play defense than it is offense. So I thought we weathered a storm per se. I thought Crosby did a really good job in the net. I don't think we gave him enough help, and at the end of the day, that just kind of fueled their fire in the idea of the way we scored. I know this sounds weird, but we might have scored too easy.
They were great setups.
Yeah, they're great setups, but they were so open that, whoa, Kepka's prime example. There's Kep bearing an empty net almost. So it's one of those situations. But at the same time, you got hats off to USA. I think they're going to be they're a better USA group than a year ago as a team. And at the same time, I think that they're only going to get better now that they're healthy.
Well, without praising them overboard, but they're a night and day difference than the team I saw last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're nearly the Kelleher, Cunnin, Matthews, that team the few years back, which was special.
Mm-hmm.
But this has got a good group. I mean, you got to figure there's 3 first-round NHL pick defensemen and another couple forwards there that are first-round pick, and that doesn't even include Jack Hughes, who's an underager playing on the 18s that isn't draft eligible, who will be maybe the first pick the following year.
So I was talking to Ricky Comley, who's a former Musketeer coach. Of course, you know him, but I'm telling listeners, he's been associated with the Musketeers many years, and a great guy, and he knows what he looks at. I mean, gets it from his father, and he said he goes, you got to watch this kid. This is the first time you've seen him. He goes, he could be number 1 overall next year.
Yeah, and he's Jack's. I think he influences the game many different ways. He influences by his skating, by his skill, by his vision. He makes plays in traffic. He's not a huge body, but very, very slippery, almost a Kelleher style that was so evasive for them, and now obviously does it in Phoenix.
Well, you saw them up and down in that line on Saturday. It was a tough game after the first period, just because they scored all those chances, and we're talking about it. But I think nothing ever happens good after giving up a shorthanded goal, ever.
Well, the shorty with the line change problem, it wasn't even a shorthand. Yeah, that was when you can tell. I think your team is pressing in the idea that overextending themselves, trying to stay out too much, maybe trying to do too much themselves, and at the same time getting the line change that basically lights them off of the 3-on-1, possibly 2 on a when you're on the power play is not a good situation.
No, and there was a number of things in that one, but I tell you what. You have a young goaltender that did a lot of good things in that game.
For sure.
I know that was a lot of pressure on him for a guy who hasn't played in a long time and seeing probably the most talent he's going to see all year.
Yeah, I thought Crosby did a really good job for himself. I don't think we helped him at all. We didn't keep pucks on one half of the ice. They were able to switch some sides. We gave them odd man situations, obviously. He had a huge, I believe that was him. He had the penalty shot shootout or stop, or was that Jurusik on Friday?
Gosh. That was, he had the stop, I think.
Crosby did, right? I think so. So
it all blends now, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, at the same time, I thought, to your point, Ben was in there. I know it's difficult at that point. And, you know, in hindsight now, putting Jurusik in might have been a good thing to do in the third to get him some pucks for the next day, because the next day was not a performance that he'd like to write home about himself. So it was, but for Ben, I thought it was good. And then obviously I thought Ben played very well on Sunday.
I know you wanted Crosby to in there, because he hadn't had it.
He
needs time.
He needs minutes. He needs pucks.
You're not going to pull him in a game. You just say, don't look at the scoreboard. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard enough to get games and do some things, and especially like Matt went on a roll there and did some things that way. It was the right rotation, I think, in the 3-and-3. Obviously, it's been a couple weeks, 3 weeks since Ben was in the net, so that doesn't help. So
8+ games.
Yeah. So I mean, you're pushing your red line in that side of things. So, but you know what? There's a goaltender there in Ben that's Crosby's going to be a good goalie for us here down the road.
Well, let's just keep going and talking about your goaltenders and everything else. As we get that Saturday one out of the way, you get into Sunday. I was expecting a lot better. Just listening, watching, seeing their reaction. But let's just call right out in Chicago, 3 o'clock game. I think your team didn't know they were playing for 10 minutes, right? They didn't look like the team I've seen. And
No.
are they tired? Are they dragging? What was it that you saw? I was in there. They looked like they were ready to go.
I would have said they were ready to go. I thought there was some juice. I thought there were some good pieces of the puzzle. I think the preparation was there. I don't think, and I don't want to throw Matt under the bus, but he's not happy with his performance either, so I can talk about it publicly. There's 3 goals on the first 4 chances of the game, and that puts you in a defense mode, especially as maybe a little bit on the tired side after 3-and-3, but no real excuse. I mean, they're playing 3-and-3 as well.
They are, and they were traveling from Madison down there.
Yep.
But it seemed, though, after about 10 minutes in the game, I don't know if you lit a fire or what have you, they started playing their game. And you're down 4-0. You pull Jerusik. Does that tell the rest of the team to start playing? Maybe I don't know.
It was. I mean, for me, it was. At that point, I had no problem putting Ben in. He was a pretty warmed up guy from the night before and what he saw, so that was easy to do. We had talked about a rotation before the trip, and if Matt wanted that game on a Sunday afternoon, when maybe the team would be pressing on the idea of 3-3 and the travel involved, but. It wasn't the start we needed, start that we wanted, and at the same time, when you get pushed back in that direction, I think we went through. There was a slow trend there where, if you watching that game, guys just started to try to put the Superman cape on and fix the game themselves, and it actually tore the game apart. Piece by piece, but after that 10, I liked a lot of pieces we put together at that point. The lesson in that is you got to take this thing, how to eat an elephant bite by bite, I guess. So there was a time there though at 3-0 where I felt like guys thought they're going to go out and get 3 goals in one shift, and it was actually demeaning to the way we were playing.
It's kind of funny is that I think I even made the comment there is not a 3-goal shot.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing.
No three-pointer.
No three-pointer on it. Micah Miller's goal was excellent, and then you guys, I thought, outplayed him the rest of the period. And Cole Koepke had 3 shots, maybe 4 shorthanded shots. You score that shorthanded goal.
All scoring chances.
All scoring chances. And you score that goal, you're down 4-2. And guess what? Here comes the Musketeers.
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment there at that little moment of truth there where we didn't get that, and then they unfortunately make it 5-2, and in that point,
the power play.
The power play. I didn't even mind the way we were playing, to be quite frank with you, except for the idea that we weren't as timely as we were Friday. It was as untimely as we were Saturday, Sunday. Not even close. So, Friday, that was a goal by Cole. I mean, that Cap would have scored.
Yep.
And that was a moment of turning point. So, at that point, I think you're fighting a little bit for production, line combination. It's funny, afterwards, someone commented, like, who's going to play with who? I'm like, whoever can try to figure out a way to play with someone else. Instead of by themselves at this current moment.
And how many times you talk we and me?
Yeah, I mean that's I think that is the one key, and it's been a big predictor for our group is when we play with a huge amount of we in our game, we get the results, and when we put me in front of it, it's been a result that individually and team we don't want.
I think a lot of these guys that hadn't played, at least at this level last year, probably their whole career had to be me because they were doing it all on their team.
Yeah, and I'm sure they were expected to on the group that they were with before, and for the most part, their mistake just let them go back over the boards and over the boards and over the boards without any repercussion. But at the same time, we're at a level now. We're at depth of.
But
this
that's all
season.
they had was this guy.
Exactly.
Whatever,
And now we're at that depth of the season where it's going to count that we figure out that our group continuously put our team first, and when we do so, the success is followed.
Well, it turned out to be 2 very lopsided games. Of course, you pull your goalie at the end. Just why not? Why not attack something?
Yeah, it's 6.5 minutes left. I think we pulled the goalie. So.
Yeah, then they score 1. You get them back in there. Well, to be honest, I think I said on the broadcast, what's the difference between 7-2 and 22-2? It's still worth the same thing, isn't it?
It was at that point, and there's a lot of pieces. I think as a coach, you're going through. All right, this is a live bullet situation. Can we put our guys into? 2, you're looking for a momentum swing. 3, for me, it was a 100% chance to go. Tell Ben at that point was this. You've played a whale of a game here. Like, this is not on you. So just be on the same page. And I think both goalies at the same time needed to hear a little bit of the same message. Like, we got to be better as a group, and it's going to include you guys, but we got to move forward here.
Let's take our first break. Musketeer Coaches Show. The Musketeers are on the road both Friday and Saturday. I do want to mention, and hopefully they get it fixed, is you might not get our broadcast with the Hockey TV. coming up this week. Apparently, they've had issues. They had issues when I was there the last time, which, by the way, when was the last time you played them up there, Luke?
First game of the year.
First game of the year. I do believe that's the correct answer. Anyways, apparently they have some very interesting audio issues up there. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Musketeer Coach's Show on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. At Bob Rose North End Zone in Leeds, we talk Musketeer hockey. And so we talk about the games. They're behind now, 11, 13, 3, and 2, still in 6th place, and 2 points ahead of the Lincoln Stars. And now the challenge comes up against the Fargo Force. And I want to talk a lot about that because 4 games in a row, we've seen 2 games, and it kind of gets a little heated and fun and all that stuff. 4 games in a row? I haven't come across that unless it's best of 5 series somewhere.
It's a new scheduling matrix.
Well, I mean, whatever. You play the schedule you have. But it's just kind of interesting for regular season to play the same team 4 times in a row.
It is. It's almost, I don't know if I've ever really done it that way, but at the same time, a common opponent between the two of us, first game of the year, then another mid-fall game there, and now back to it. And I think both teams are in different places, obviously. They've continued their way. They're in first place. They've done their part. I think they've got an older, experienced, heavier playing large group. At the same time, I think we've gotten bigger. I think we've gotten heavier, and I think the matchup that we've had in the past has been pretty strong between the two of us. Their goaltenders have been outstanding for Fargo, in my opinion.
They really have. Either one of them are fine, either the Man kid or the Bishop kid, but they are old. They are veteran. I thought that right out of the gate. It's another one of those teams. You know, we've seen success this year out of teams is really, especially in the West, has come from teams that maybe didn't make the postseason last year but had some promise.
Yep.
And they sold some pieces for some draft choices. But I can tell you that sounds exactly like Fargo, it sounds like Omaha, and it sounds like Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Especially. And look where they're at.
Don't be afraid to put Tri-City in that hole.
Oh, my God. I completely forgot Tri-City. They might be on top.
Yeah. I mean, that's so I think that's what we run into with Fargo. I think they're that top group of Schmidt, Smedstrup, when they lost some games, the kid was gone to World Junior. So,
and he got hurt?
And he got hurt. And the weird part about this whole deal is then you've got, Sioux Falls lost on Saturday, but they had beat them 6 straight.
They had their whatever matchup works.
They've had a matchup work that...
and he beat Sioux Falls 3 straight.
Yeah. So we've got to just obviously worry about us and clean up some play of ours, but at the same time they present a challenge of I think they do skate well. I think they have detail, and those guys, they play hard because of their age and their size. They play hard. They
play hard. You're playing and getting more hard play out of your team because you're also going a little bigger. Let's talk about what you have and some transactions that you've had. Is you got some new bodies?
Yeah, I mean Adam
to go along with skilled guys. Yeah, I think you have to have a blend, do you not?
We do, and Adam Cadlick was our most recent acquisition here. Adam was playing in the OHL, Chicago kid, U.S.-born, dual citizen. So Adam came down to he's a 6'3" right shot center. I wouldn't say he plays a big, hard, heavy game, except for you can definitely tell his space-taking ability, but he's got a stick and a skill set for a bigger guy like that's got some touch around the cage, and it's definitely got some touch getting up around the rink.
Well, I think with his stature, he can be in front of the cage, and it'd be tough to move.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not because he's hitting people; it's because he's just heavy.
He's heavy. He's got some. I think he definitely has some offensive moxie to his game. There, you saw that right away. He got in the lineup and scored with by taking and stripping Bodie Wild, who will be a first-round pick of a puck there, and tucking it right in tight. So that was a good piece. I mean, you look at Bauer Neudecker, who's been with us now for a few weeks back, but not that size by any means, but he might be as willful as they get out there.
He doesn't care where he's going.
He doesn't care. He's got tons of courage. He's produced for us offensively, I think, in different spots. He can set up players. He's got a quick stick. He's got great vision. And like I say, he's got courage to play inside the dots when the players get a little bigger inside there, and he's right in there with them. So happy to see that progress. And obviously, I think on the back end when we picked up Nate there, Konepke, he's got us at a bigger stature as well. And Nate's, I think, done a fabulous job for us as an addition back there.
Can he be offensive?
Yeah, I think, you know what, the offensive part is kind of subtle. I mean, it's not going to be a sexy, wow-wooing play. It's going to be a really fundamentally basic but effective play that he does routinely, and his offense is pretty routine in a good way, in the fact that he doesn't really lose many small battles, he doesn't really lose many small passes to maybe made, and he gets tons of pucks through from the blue line all the way to the net.
He's long.
He's long, and
does he have a heavy shot? You think with that wingspan, that thing would be.
Well, he can if you give him a little bit of a time, because sometimes those wingspan take a time to wind up. But at the same time, his most effective part might be just finding little holes in there that he can get pucks through a seam.
Well, you have that. You made an acquisition at the deadline for foreign-born.
Yes.
And talk about this young man that you're bringing in.
Yeah, we moved Sammy Salonen. He went through the whole process of the league. He is now a Youngstown Phantom, and we want nothing but success for Sam. I think he was looking for a new look and a new feel and direction about what was going on there. And so we're supporting him in wishes of that nature, but at the same time, really want him to have the success he deserves. He's a great kid with a big future, and whenever that thing pops, I think you're going to see a heck of a player.
Well, when people go other places, doesn't mean they're bad or whatever. It means it's a better fit, or it's a new trial, or what have you. I mean, you don't have to take any negative from this. No,
I mean, situationally, just give him more opportunity, and at the same time, age-wise, as a 2000 born, he can continue his progress that way and continue his chase for a college scholarship on that direction. We acquired a young man, Matthias, and his last name's Svoboda, and I just butchered his name. It's actually Matthias.
Matthias? Okay, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah,
I saw the spelling. Matthias?
Yes.
Matthias.
He told me
Svoboda.
He would really tell me how to say it when he got here.
Okay.
He's just got to get through a little custom battle at the border right now, which we've got going on.
Is he trying to bring back some maple syrup or something, or what?
You know what? I mean, it's
a process. It's called a border.
It's the border. It's the midstream.
It's Canada.
It's the folks that have made it not so easy for the folks that it should be easy for. Let's put it that way.
So he should be here.
Hoping so. Hoping he arrives tonight.
Big kid.
Big kid, 6'3", left shot forward. Big as in just a heavy hard playing kid. He's a second-round pick in the KHL. He's a first-round pick of Peterborough in the OHL. Came over, I would say maybe prematurely came overseas here and didn't get maybe the direction he was looking for there, and vice versa. Those imports in the OHL better produce, or they don't stick around as long as they do. But with production comes you need opportunity, and they were kind of a floundering team that didn't have opportunity for him. So it's good to know people as far as agents go. So we got some people that would really like to see him here.
Ontario League or the Western or what have you, it just seems though if you're not a top two line kind of guy, you might get lost.
Yeah, you get lost. I mean, and the part you really probably get lost on is situations for numbers, for points, for different things that way. But if we can get bigger in that regard, heavier, harder, it was worth the risk here to us. And when the whole thing shook down with Sam and that import spot became open, it was something we got into pretty deep.
Well, perfect. Let's take another break. We'll come back. It is the Musketeer Coaches Show, and it's right here on Fox Sports Radio 620, Camet, Sioux City. Musketeer Coach's Show on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson, the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers, and Luke Strand. We talk Musketeer hockey for every Tuesday at this time, from right after trivia up until 6 o'clock. Musketeers in action both Friday and Saturday this week. They are at the Fargo Force, and you can watch hockey TV at Buffalo Wild Wings. Well, hopefully, maybe they'll fix their issue they've had for 3 months about having the broadcast on hockey TV. But if not, we have it on 620 KMNS and iHeart Radio. 3 months. That seems like a long time.
Yeah, that's not a fix. That's a problem.
That's someone not doing something is what I have to say about that. I'll just say plain and simple, someone it's not that important. It's
Right.
not that important.
You had a good point, though. That's where the visitor broadcast should be on.
Yeah.
Not the home.
If you do that, guess what? Problems get fixed real quick. For some reason, and I'm not sure why, but problems usually get fixed when the home team has an issue. We're talking Musketeer hockey. Callie Ernberg went down in that game over the weekend. That was the Saturday game. It was a clean hit, but it's a hit I hate.
Yeah, I mean, the clock ran out, expiring clock, vulnerable player, clean hit.
Game's over already. The
Yeah.
game is over.
It's game's over. Yeah, it's difficult, and at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's a moment there where you're like, all right, this is your time to get after it as a group. Like,
What are you going to let happen?
selfishly, like, I wasn't going to stop them, so I was all for whatever was going to occur.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying it's a dirty hit, but I hate that hit because I've seen it many times, and people get hurt from it because the game is over.
Yeah, the game's over. Like I said, he was extended. He was actually did not have the puck when he got hit. So
Oh, he didn't? Okay.
the puck was away. The actual physical contact was clean, but really not even a puck on his stick. So, but Callie,
How's he doing?
well, he skated today. He was full go today, which was a promising sign for us because there was a moment there where he had just re-aggravated what he had hurt before.
Well, that's what I was really more annoyed with, the fact that he just came back from injury on that same kind of thing.
Yep.
And he's worked his
He's a
butt off
lawyer.
to come
You know,
back.
the weird part is he had told Kedron after that being injured, it was the first time he had been injured. So that kind of tells you a little bit about him. Like, he's a pretty good little soldier there about working through some things.
He's not big, but
No, but
he's a hockey player.
courage aplenty, that's for sure.
Yeah. You guys are, and I know there's blips because people see these scores, these last two games,
Yep.
but how far has your team come?
Oh, I think.
In what areas are the most?
Well, I mean, it's weird. I mean, if you talked about the lineup, like if we're healthy, when you're putting your whole group together, I think our group has skyrocketed. I think there's been moments this year where, just out of being depleted, we were down. I think the biggest area, if I had to say it off the hop, I think Jerusik has been very good for us. Especially,
But he also saved you quite a few early, too, you know.
He did. But I think the consistency in the last month has been its peak for me so far this year. That part's been a big part because I think that allows everyone in front of you to play a game that you're like, nah, he's got our back type thing. So that part's important. I think our decor got better. I think they added the addition of Nate back there and slotting some players in the right direction really helped us, and I think some of those guys got to play a lot. The Babbages, the Johnsons,
Bond,
the Ernberg, like the young players to the league got to play a lot early, which at times they'd probably raise their hand the highest, saying that was painful.
but got better.
But it definitely pushed them along. And then I think, you went through that first 12 games, and first 12 games you've got Micah with no goals, you've got Kepke with maybe a couple, and then all of a sudden you go through the next, 12, 15 games where now they're at 11 goals, 9 goals, things of that nature. So they really pushed the pace, and I thought that gave our offense a shot in the arm. And currently right now we're getting secondary scoring, which anytime you can take pressure off your go-to scoring guys where more people become threatening, it's a bonus for your team.
Like a Leibold
Leibold's been scoring. Mills.
He's got 5 goals total, but he's been really striking, going strong.
Yes. So you start to point in that regard. I just think it takes some pressure maybe off some other guys. And the more like the Kepkes and Ronta and Micah, and we can keep those guys apart, then all of a sudden you've got a little bit cover up on a 3-headed monster on separate lines.
Yeah. No, you just see it coming along. It doesn't always mean wins. It doesn't always mean losses, but you can see it on the ice. I think that's the thing.
Our progress, I think, in just processing a game as well, as far as being a younger group, having some more maturity, some more patience, when to strike, when to risk, when not to, letting the time and the score really dictate basically the temperature of the game that we're playing. So, but that takes time. That takes some maturity about what it is. And at the end of the day, I think our group is very, very tight as people. The family has gotten tighter and tighter, and you can always tell, I think, when new players come in and how quickly they get emerged into our group and right submerged in the idea that they are part of the group instantly. That's good leaders, and that's good people on your group, and that's where it's becoming right now with the additional people.
I think you've heard a lot from your leadership group or your assistant captains and captains about off and on the ice this year very well. It seems like they have a lot of leadership qualities, more than I've seen in some others.
They do, and I think we work pretty hard at a leadership council as a staff, and I think their input's important. Their input for us, if there's a decisiveness needed and they feel like they've taken ownership in what that decision was, I think that only is something that progresses a team along.
Games coming up both Friday and Saturday, then on the road Thursday the next week as well to Fargo. Why don't we do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Call it good. Be kind of good. We'll
have
trip
a new
up.
Crowd up there next Thursday.
There you go. That's something to say about it.
Hey, make the trip. Like, why not? 5 hours and 15 degrees less in temperature.
Does it really matter? We're inside.
We're inside. Once you're inside, you're inside. Although this is one of those things where you might not get inside without feeling that.
From the distance from your car?
For sure.
It's all right. They have things in there that make you feel better. That's coming up at Shields, coming up Friday, Saturday. And I do appreciate, letting me watch the Viking game at the end, and you didn't make any smirks. You actually didn't, I
provided you service of cellular activity to watch the game.
Yeah, and you weren't, cheering on New Orleans or anything like that.
No, I was happy for the Vikes. You know what, it's... I'll bleed my green and gold, but I'm happy. It's good for the whole everything that football's about right up here.
You like Case Keenum and you like Thielen.
I'm a major Thielen fan. That kid's a rock star.
Yeah, good old Mankato.
What was it? A $500 scholarship?
Here, get a book.
Here's a book.
We knew a few hockey players up there that do good, too.
Good for him. That's awesome.
All right. Join us coming Friday, Saturday, and it's Musketeer Hockey at the Fargo Force. Remember, basketball tonight, East hosting West. Batesville have the call on. That's going to do it on Fox Sports Radio 620, KMNS, Sioux City.